Welcome to Mud Bunny. This is the second map from Stardate 20x6. In the previous level we've secured the access to the caves, but shortly after entering we're greeted with an unpleasant sight. The underground complex has been overrun by demons. Our primary goal is to access the base on the other side of the facility, and the only way there is through this subterranean station. Mud Bunny is by far my favorite level in Stardate 20x6. All those strange structures embedded into large caves, I just love it. It also has the kind of gameplay that is right up my alley, a mix of incidental encounters with interesting set pieces, and a difficulty that's easy enough to be enjoyable casually, but not completely trivial to the point of being boring. The first part of the level is very linear, but once we get to the main facility we have a choice between two routes. Both of these routes connect and form a circular level structure, so we can choose whichever path we prefer, but the only difference is the order of things, because we have to visit all those areas anyway. So, without further ado, let's get right to it. This first encounter sets the precedent for the rest of the map set. Enemies are facing away from us, which gives us an opportunity to form a plan before we engage them. In this case, we should obviously go after the Pain Elemental first, to prevent him from flooding the area with lost souls, and then just finish off the revenants. You have to be careful when picking up the armor, because the revenant warps in as soon as you enter this room. It's a small detail, but you may want to avoid grabbing the chain gun when you enter, because doing so triggers a forced weapon switch, which leaves you pretty much defenseless for a few seconds. I'm trying not to waste too many shells on the imps, because we have an Archvile to take care of in the cave to the right. The Archvile cannot leave that area, so it's relatively easy to deal with him. However, this whole situation is just kind of inconvenient. I choose to play it safe and shoot him through the window, and that is the easiest way, but unfortunately the range makes using the double-barrel shotgun less effective. The alternative solution is to enter the cave and get closer to him, but then we have no cover, and the only defense is dropping down to the pit. This is rather tricky. I'm trying to kill those revenants without alerting the sergeants around the corner, but there's not much space to move around, so it's kind of difficult not to take damage. Coming up is the first secret. There's a shootable switch around the bend, which reveals a lift that will take us to the soul sphere above. Once we drop down, we have to deal with the first major encounter. I like to get the Mancubus to fight with the Knights, and then I'm looking for an opportunity to flip that switch to trigger the proper ambush. This went really well. I was able to get rid of the revenants before getting swarmed by the imps. And you don't really have to do it this way. You can kill the Knights first and then press the switch if you prefer. Actually, we're not even locked in, so we can just rush for the stairs and escape. Man, I really love the aesthetics in this level. I don't know. Something about this cave environment just speaks to me. I think these kinds of visuals work really well in Doom. Okay, so go up the stairs, take care of the remaining imps. Don't forget the backpack that's hidden around the corner. And we're moving on. This encounter is actually harder than it looks in the video. You have to be very careful with the rocket launcher. Barons take a lot of hits and you can run out of space here quicker than you might think. Yeah, now we're down to 3 Barons, so it's time to switch to the double-barrel shotgun. Man, it's so easy to hit yourself with splash here. This area is smaller than it looks. Okay, now we're entering the hub area of the level. As I mentioned before, this is where we have to make a decision. We can either go straight up ahead or to the right. The exit out of this map is locked with a blue key, which is in the middle section that we can see through the bars here. However, getting there requires a red key. To get to it, we have to deal with 2 big fights. One of them grants us access to the red key area itself, while the other lowers the pillar on which the key is placed. So, like I said, it doesn't really matter where we go first, because we have to do both of those things anyway. I choose the path on the right because the encounter there is a bit more dangerous, so I want to get it out of the way as soon as possible. Okay, so grab the stuff, some shells over here, some rockets in the cave. There's a megasphere that we're gonna pick up later. And here we have the second secret. There are some barely visible steps here that let us get to the top of that ledge. Then we press the button and lower the mega armor, which is gonna be very useful for the next fight. So we're getting closer to the big encounter. We drop down, nothing fancy here. I'm luring out the Archvile first because there are two revenants hiding behind the corner. Yeah, there they are. It's kind of a mess if we alert them all at once. There's really not enough space here to play carelessly. Here we have a very dangerous encounter with imps on the ledge. Okay, so the setup here is that enemies only warp in the middle of the room around the pillar. But the pillar is surrounded by teleporter paths that move the enemies to the periphery of the area. It's a very interesting scenario, very chaotic. Monsters just keep teleporting around and it's really difficult to say what's going on. From my experience, the best strategy is to carefully move around the room to trigger as much infighting as possible. But we constantly have to pay attention to what's going on. We can't afford to just strafe run here hoping for the best. It may not look like it at first, but it's really easy to get stuck, and if that happens, we're in trouble. It's really a battle of endurance. We want to survive long enough for enemies to dispose of themselves, and then we can just finish off the survivors. The door at the top of this little staircase takes us to the balcony with the red key. However, we haven't lowered the pillar yet, so we can't collect it yet. Yeah, it gets to the point where pretty much we have full control of the situation. At this point, we should try to lure the enemies towards one of the corners, something that I'm not doing right now for some reason. Because if we stay in the middle, they just keep teleporting around, which is just... it's not really dangerous, it just takes longer to kill them. And yeah, I probably should have used the rocket launcher here. I'm being very careful with using rockets in this map for some reason. I'm not really sure why. I think there's more than enough to deal with everything. I probably should have played a bit more aggressively here. But hey, we're done with this. So press the switch. I go here, I think there's some supplies here. Some ammunition. Yeah, there's a red key. So up next we have a little encounter with imps and Archvile. It's kind of silly. This switch near the armor opens a passage with imps and Hell Knights, but for some reason I keep thinking that just picking up that armor does that. I don't know why. I just keep avoiding stepping on it. I guess my instincts tell me that an armor in the middle of a room has to be booby-trapped. And yeah, nothing super interesting here. I'm luring out the imps to prevent the upcoming Archvile from resurrecting them, but I don't really know why. As you can see, we can just kill him almost on the spot, so that's not a problem. So press the switch, some enemies come out. Yeah, I mean, this totally looks like the walls should come down after grabbing the armor. I'm not sure why there's a switch for that. Grab the rockets and go up the stairs. This passage is gonna take us to another secret. We find this carefully hidden teleporter pad. Yeah, we have to climb some barely visible steps again. Yeah, here's a teleporter that takes us to this lovely place. The solution is pretty obvious. Use the rocket launcher to get rid of the chain gunners, then finish off the barons. Yeah, once again, you have to be really careful with the rocket launcher. It's alluring to use the rocket launcher on the barons because they just don't die, no matter what you throw at them, but you can just get hit by splash. And our reward for beating this room is the megasphere that we've seen earlier in the hub area. There it is. But I'm gonna leave it now, because we're gonna need it later. Still avoiding that armor. This place is insidious. I make it look easy, but it can actually be rather tricky if you lose your bearings. You can play it completely safe by staying in the archvile room, but as you've seen, the door, quote unquote, is actually a lift activated by a switch that's on the wall. So it's just really awkward to you keep lowering that lift and taking a few shots, and then we have to lower the lift again. So now we've circled around the whole level and we're back in the place near the hub area. This is a rather straightforward encounter. We have a Cyber Demon on one side, Mankibai on the other, and Hell Knights on the ledge. So we have to get the Cyber to infight with the Mankibai and then with Knights. The only real problem is that we're gonna have two Archviles on those pillars that you've seen just now. So we kinda have to stay on the side of the Mankibai even though we have less space there. But as soon as the infighting begins, we're free to take care of the vials. But it's actually better to not let your guard down yet, because the Cyber might decide to shoot you as soon as his current opponent dies, so it's safer to hang around here and not expose yourself to his attacks. Oh, perfect. Perfectly played. I caught that fireball like a pro. I guess I focused too much on the Cyber Demon and completely stopped paying attention to everything else. So this final stage can be really boring. The Hell Knights are so high up that once the Cyber gets close to the ledge, they might be unable to damage each other. But yes, we can use this moment to get back up and grab that Megasphere that we've left behind. Yeah, now we just have to wait. The Hell Knights are blocking the entrance to the control room, which will allow us to lower the pillar with the red key. I wonder if in situations like this I should really just try to come up with something, anything to talk about, because, well, there are those cleanup moments where it's just like, yeah, we're just killing monsters, nothing interesting or notable is happening. Well, I can do that. I can just talk about random stuff all day long. Not a problem. Gotta try to come up with some ways to make these boring moments at least a little bit more interesting. In the meantime, let's move on. There's some chain gunners there. This is actually, these areas that we see right now are actually behind the red door, so we're gonna go there in a few moments. There we can see the red key. So we press the switch and an Archvile appears, but honestly that's just a jump scare more than anything else, because he can't really do anything against us. Even if he resurrects someone, that doesn't really matter, we can just shoot them with a rocket launcher. Okay, so we're going back for the key now. I might have actually taken the longer route here. Well, it doesn't matter really. Might have wasted like 5 seconds or something. So go back here. And there it is. Now we have to enter the central area, which consists of 2 main rooms and 2 big encounters. The first one is a classic goat siege, where we have to hold off a pack of knights and barons with a rocket launcher. We could attack the Revenants as well, but they're not really the problem here, because we have cover from them on both ends of this room. Make sure you focus on barons. When dealing with hordes like this, it's very important to make sure that you use the splash damage, so you should always target the biggest sacks of hit points so that they take direct damage, and everything else should die from splash. Once again, I'm being paranoid about my rockets. I'm not sure why. Yeah, there's so many boxes, I should have probably just blasted everything with rockets. 20x6 in general is not very stingy with ammunition. Like, these are just more traditional Doom levels by some standards. There's not a huge amount of ammo starvation in the levels, so... Yeah, no, once again using the chain gun instead of rocket launcher for some reason. Maybe it's because I've been re-recording those first 3 levels recently after playing 20x7, where the ammo problems are a lot more severe. Now that's done. I press the switch. It actually takes a moment. I should have pressed it earlier because these bars lower forever. So the next fight is kind of the centerpiece of the level. Quite literally. It's a pretty clever setup. We have those pillars that you see right now. They're gonna start moving up and down, and there will be revenants on top of them. Meanwhile, on the ground level, there will be 3 waves of arch vials, 2 vials per wave, and they will be coming from the end of this room. So we have to keep killing the revenants that just keep getting replaced by new revenants while dealing with vials on the ground level. Yeah, we have to keep using those pillars as cover, so we can't really stray too far. The first time you see this, you might be tricked into thinking that you should move towards the big open area near the entrance, but when you do that, you have absolutely no cover from the vials. So once again, I made it look kind of easy, but actually the first time you play it, it's kind of confusing because, well, you've got arch vials just running around behind pillars. You don't know what's going on. See, so many rockets. Should have used them more before. So after wrapping this up, we'll flip the switch that will open the exit. However, it will also trigger a surprise ambush of imps, revenants, and a couple of vials. Once again, the strategy is similar. We have to stay at the end of the room and keep firing towards the middle. If we try to run away too early, we might get blocked by other monsters, and then arch vials will have a clear shot at us. Yeah, just this is fairly straightforward. Just do not panic, do not run around like crazy. Keep firing, keep an eye on the arch vial. See, I see that there's only 1 vial left, so I choose to just rush it and use the plasma. So you might be thinking, okay, the worst is over, right? We have the blue key, we can exit the level. Well, think again, because this is gonna be the final screw you from Ribbiks here. Check this out. So we're back here. We try to open a blue door, and then walls around us open, unleashing 2 cybers and a horde of revenants. Oh, by the way, did you notice this is the room with the teleporter pads around the pillar? Not enough? How about the 2 arch vials blocking the exit? Yeah, that's a super nasty trap. If you don't know about this, you just straight up die. It's pretty damn unfair if you ask me. So what I'm doing right now is I'm gonna cheese it by running around the whole place and dealing with everything from the safety of this little convenient room. Just waiting for the cybers to kill the revenants, and then we'll shotgun the revenants through those little gaps. This is absolutely not the most elegant way of dealing with this situation, but come on. I mean, if you want to try doing this legitimately with revenants and cybers teleporting around you, well, be my guest, but trust me when I say that doing anything other than what I'm doing here right now is not gonna end well for you. But this is another act of mercy in 20x6. You can try to do this fight the regular way, but it's possible to escape if you choose to. There are no impenetrable blockades here, so I can only assume that we're supposed to be able to do that. Okay, only one cyber remains, so I choose to go back there and finish him off with a plasma rifle. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We have one more Archvile guarding the exit, and that's gonna be that. Really great level, all things considered. I absolutely love the aesthetics and atmosphere. The music is great. Just a great level all around. Yeah, just finish off this cyber. Press 2 switches, which will open the exit. And yeah, we fought our way through this part of the complex, but there's still one more place we have to visit before we get out of the caves.